Going on, you guys? It's the Michael Myers. Welcome back to a brand new live stream, man. Gonna be bringing you guys a top five video. I could have easily done a top 10. Like I said, I do have a few more of these top five, and also top tens. I'm not sure about 20. That is a little too much. I will say I've done a top 20 before, um, a while back, like in my top 10, or my top 20 horror movies. I believe I did that back in October. But yeah, today I'm gonna be bringing you guys a top five. I'm gonna be giving you guys my top five Stephen King movies. So pretty interesting, man. We already know Stephen King is one of the original horror masters, man, and I know a lot of his novels, a lot of his stories have gotten film adaptations. Many of them are not good. This top five will include movies, of course. They're based on the Stephen King novels, but they're not necessarily his films. For example, Stephen King does also his own versions. Like, for example, he made his own version of The Shining. Um, but we all know, when he personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of that Shining remake. His own Stephen King's own screenplay of The Shining. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. A lot of his movies, not really, but I feel other directors have definitely. There's a lot of great screenplay adaptations of his novels, man. And for sure, like I said, I was thinking of doing like a top 10, maybe top 8, but I just decided to make it a little bit more tight, so you could say the list makes it more interesting. You put more thought into it because you only have space for five films. So, and like I said, there's a lot of great Stephen King movies. So you kind of go based on that. So I created a little top five. Like I said, it was a little hard. Not hard, but it did take me some thought, to put this little list together. But yeah, man. So we're gonna get started with number five. I want to give like honorable mentions. I believe that's how you say it. Because like I said, it was kind of difficult, man, to really like, cause there's a lot of, like I said, he has a lot of great films that didn't necessarily, that I wish made the top five, but there's just some are better than others and stuff like that. But before we get into like my favorite, before we get into number one, I'm gonna be giving you guys you know a few honorable mentions. But yeah, we're gonna get started here, you guys. Hope you guys are having a dope Monday afternoon. Like I said, I had a little time on my hands, so decided to just do a quick live stream. I was gonna pre-record it because most of my top videos, like right now, I just finished recording the what's it called? My top 10 worst horror movie sequels. So be on the lookout for that. That's probably my next video. But yeah, usually I pre-record them. But this one, man, since it's a short top five, we're gonna go ahead and do it live. So number five on my list, um, classic movie. All these films are classics. Like I said, Stephen King movies are really like nostalgic for me. I just think they're like, other than like the Freddys, the Jasons, the Chuckies, the Myers. Other than those classic films, I will say right behind those, the Stephen King definitely his movies come into play. Like as far as growing up with them and stuff like that. So number five on my list, Pet Cemetery, man, the very original Pet Cemetery. I think we talked a little bit about this on last week's live stream. Yeah, I rewatched this last week, man. This film right here has always been like I said, one of my favorites. It's just a really, you could say, a creepy concept. It's you know a lot of people kind of, I've never understood why people gravitate more to the remake. I know some stuff right here, like the special effects, don't get me wrong, they're good. I think it still stands the test of time, but you could say some of them are a bit cheesy, and they're how do you say it, they haven't aged as well when you watch them today. You could say there some of them are pretty outdated, but I mean, other than that, man, I really don't have no complaints with this movie. it's a great film. Like I said, the concept is pretty creepy. You know, you have there's just like the pet cemetery. You bury your pet, of course, the famous cat. What was, I forgot the name, but Church. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's creepy, you know. And then of course, the dad, um, definitely it starts messing with him. You know, it starts messing with his head, and it's like you really feel for this dude, man, because like it is some tragic events, you know, that go down in this movie and that goes down. You know, especially when it comes to family. For example, one of the most memorable scenes for me, man, has always been the little boy, man. Of course, what was his name? Cage, I believe that's his name. Yeah, like especially you know when his death scene, you know, when the truck runs him over. Uh, I know you don't really see much because of course you know this is still the '80s, but it definitely still leaves you like you know you saw that with your imagination. You know what I mean? Tyrese Daniels, what's up, man? The Shining, man, definitely classic movie. But we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. Um, but yeah, man, pretty damn memorable movie for me. Like I said, it brings the nostalgic feeling. And yeah, it's always been one of my favorites. So Pet Cemetery definitely made my number 5. So yeah, number 4. This is when you could say stuff is getting interesting. Stanley Stanley Kubrick's, shouldn't be no surprise, The Shining, man. This is another one of those horror films I have early memories with. For example, like on the AMC channel, you know, yearly they do the they do the Fear Fest. You know, they start run. They have like Stephen King marathons. You know, and then they have like the franchise marathons. But I remember as a kid, man, like during the Halloween season, this film would I have early memories of watching it on TV, like with my uncle or whatever the case was. I feel this is a great example of a horror film, man. This was 81, 1980. But yeah, man, Stanley Kubrick did a great job on getting this story into a screenplay. You know, and I've heard you know stories. You know, I'm pretty sure you could like go on YouTube, find documentaries and stuff like that, like the making behind The Shining. I heard it was one hell of a you know filming experience with Stanley Kubrick, because you know he's one of those directors that definitely he goes hardcore with his craft. You know, he definitely takes it serious. So you know you probably heard you know the stories about you know having them like repeating like keep like repeating scenes, you know, until you know they get the perfect one. But The Shining, man, I think Jack Torrance is a great character. Jack Nicholson, of course, iconic, man, iconic stuff. I think he really played one hell of a role. I remember as a kid, you know, I had early memories of it, but of course, once you grow up a little more, you know, as a horror fan, we rewatch these movies. You could say it's kind of like a slow pace in the beginning, but just the whole story, man. You know, when it has to do with the hotel, and then you know, of course, you got Danny, the little boy who like sees like the little girls in the hallways. You know, the blood pouring down the stairs, like all of that, man. It just brings back a lot of memory, a lot of nostalgic. Like I said, my early moments of you know horror for me. So yeah, The Shining, man, is a great film. Of course, right there has the one of the most iconic scenes of all time. The Here's Johnny. There's the 2-disc special edition. So yeah, it has like disc of special features, man. Like I said, this scene, like the whole the snow view, you know, in the house has always been early memories for me, man. And yeah, it's just like a simple concept. Like you have your you know this husband trying to kill like literally his own wife and his own kid. Like it really, like you could say, it feels real. Like it's grounded off like you know real life or whatever. It's not like it's a monster or you know a creature or whatever. It's like just a regular guy. You know, one day he snaps. You know, so yeah, I think it definitely is like a psychological type of thing. I think this is a great, you know, great, like I said, great example of a horror film where you don't really need much as far as like effects or like monsters and stuff like that. But The Shining, man, great film. Like I said, my number 4. Number 3, man. Now there's another one we talked about last week. Yeah, because I rewatched this. I rewatched the original, and I rewatched the remake. And I believe, I could be mistaken, I believe this was Stephen King's first first novel to get a screenplay, to get a film adaptation. But I could be wrong. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. This was 76. Carrie, man. Carrie, I've always loved Carrie, man. It's such a classic movie. Like I said, another one where you don't need as much you don't really need as much to make a horror film, man. Definitely there's a great example of it. Of course, you know, it kind of, you could say, it kind of gets technical when, you know, you start going with the whole telekinesis powers. But other than that, man, like, it still feels like a real grounded movie. Like, it's pretty much like, it's relatable to a lot of people. You know, this chick getting picked on at school, and yeah, you know, it has that reality feel to it. But Sissy Spacek, man, I think she really owns the role of Carrie. Just that deep stare was always creepy, man. Especially the prom night scene. You know, when she has the pig blood, you know, dumped on her, thrown on her, and then she just like kills everyone, which is of course another classic scene. But that, man, the way she just like, that deep stare she has, it was always creepy, you know. And I think that's what made the original such a classic film, man. Like I said, you didn't really need much, and then of course she has like this messed up relationship with her mother, her crazy mother, man. And like I said, it's just a great horror film, man. The remake, I didn't really mind the remake. I think I have it around here. Oh, it's behind the camera. I'm holding it, but the remake I didn't think was bad at all. You know, I do have a few issues. Like I said, I'll probably do a remake review. You know, do one because it didn't. If you guys saw my top 10 remakes of all time, Carrie did not make it. The 2013 remake of Carrie did not make it. But if I were to do like a top 15, it definitely would have made my top 15, man. It's probably my number 11, right next after my 10. But it's not a bad remake at all. But I think this one, man, is the original. And I believe they also have a Carrie Part 2, which is considered like another remake. I'm not really sure, man. But to me, this one was always the original Carrie. But yeah, man, such a classic movie. Like I said, I rewatched it last week. And it's one of those films I never get bored of. You know, I could watch this anytime. And yeah, man, it's one hell of a movie. And like I said, it's a simple concept, simple premise, but it's really effective. Like I said, it stands the test of time. I think the effects in this were better than the 2013 remake. That's one of my main issues with the 2013 remake. A lot of the CGI and shit, like, I wasn't really digging it, but the original Carrie, man. And then the score, man. You can't forget about that damn score. The score for The Shining, great, man. A lot of these freaking films, great score. And especially with Carrie, man, is one of those standout scores for me, soundtracks. But yeah, that's my number 3, Carrie. Number 2, man. All right, now it's getting pretty interesting. Should I give the honorable mentions? Fuck it, why not? So I'm gonna show you guys a few. First of all, I want to show you this. I have the Stephen King collection. It has Pet Cemetery, which I own. The reason I bought it is because it has Dead Zone, Silver Bullet, and Graveyard Shift, man. But Silver Bullet, another great film, man. Like I said, definitely one of those that I wanted to add in my top 5, man, because it's such a good film. Silver Bullet, like I said, Silver Bullet is one of those like that really have that 80s feel to it, you know. So Silver Bullet, Graveyard Shift, another good one, man. The Dead Zone could be good too, but I recall these two a little bit more. But yeah, these are some honorable mentions. Great films, man. If you guys have not seen them, go check it out. But yeah, another honorable mention, which I do have on DVD, but I have it over there in the case. The Stand. Of course, The Stand was like I think it was like a TV series. It wasn't really a film. It was like a TV movie, little TV series. Um, Another honorable mention, It, 1990. Yes, I know Stephen King's It is the most popular one for sure. And you guys probably thought, um, oops, my phone's dying. My phone's dying. Let me plug this thing. But yeah, It, 1990 didn't make my top five, man. Like I said, it's the bigger one, the most known Stephen King movie. It's a classic for sure. Like I said, it was like a TV movie kind of thing. But and as much as I grew up loving that movie, it honestly didn't make my top five, man, because I put myself in a position like pick like my top five are films that are my go-to's, so if I sit down, I want to watch a Stephen King movie, I'll probably won't watch it over these, honestly. But it another great film, man. Pennywise, classic stuff. Now here's another one, my last honorable mention. uh as a matter of fact, this one was gonna actually make it to my top five, man. It was either gonna be number five or four. Sleepwalkers, man. This is a really, in my opinion, an underrated movie. A lot of people don't know about Sleepwalkers. So if you guys have not seen it, go check it out. But the main reason I've always, loved, or I wouldn't say love. I mean, yeah, I would say like a love, because it's another nostalgic movie for me. Like I said, a lot of these Stephen King movies, man, you just get that '80s feel, and they really like. I grew up with a lot of these films. Like I said, um, other than our main franchises like Halloween, Freddy, um, these are the most iconic behind those, and Sleepwalkers. I know it's kind of like a cheesy idea, with the vampires and stuff, Oh shit, and yeah, a cheesy story, not the greatest film like to take as serious, kind of like for shits and giggles purposes, but still, it's always been a real memorable movie for me. And like I said, it was literally gonna make my top five. It was either gonna be number five or number four. But Sleepwalkers, man, underrated film. Uh, you could say it kind of grew a cult following, or not really, because I feel like it's still kind of underrated. But people like, it's a guilty pleasure for people. Let's put it that way. But but yeah, for sure. Sleepwalkers, go check it out if you haven't. Like I said, a cheesy movie. Just I think of a movie to watch if like you're in a mood for cheesiness, But for sure, number two, man. Now we're gonna move on to number two. Got some honorable mentions out of the way. Um, I should have done I should have done them before one. Now it's kind of like, if you guys know what's up, you guys probably know what are the next. But number two, man, Cujo, another great film. And like I said, well, I haven't said this throughout this live stream, but I want to say, man, I'm wide aware that a lot of these Stephen King novels, I personally never read them. Like I've read It, the original It novel, but I really did not complete it. Um, but yes, I'm well known. I'm aware that a lot of his novels are better than the movies, than the actual screenplays, because of course in the novel it's more stretched out. The stories are more intense. Now this is one of those that I've heard in the past previously, that the novel goes more deep, but the movie, man, I think they did a great job with this movie. This is another one that I grew up with, man. Watching on AMC, like I said, when they would run the classic, they still do. Like if you go on AMC during the Halloween season, they do like their marathons. They have like they dedicate a day or two, just streaming Stephen King movies. So yeah, man, I remember as a kid this was on TV once, and I was literally stuck to my TV, man, because this is such a another one. Like I said, like a lot of these films, a simple premise, man. Like it's like this could happen to it could happen to anyone, Like it's based on reality, a rabid dog, um, trying to attack this boy and the mother, being stuck in the car, in the heat. Like it's a creepy concept, man. And like I said, the novel does go more deep, because from what I heard, I guess the boy does end up dying. I believe he dies for because dehydration, the heatness in the damn car, man. So yeah, in the novel he actually did pass away, but I heard I don't know if it was Stephen King himself, but he did not want to include that, or probably the director didn't want to go that route. Like I said, this was the '80s. It was still kind of like people would have raised their eyebrows, if they would have seen something like that. It would have made the movie like more emotional by the end for sure. But yeah, man, the Cujo movie, great film, man. Like I said, just about this dog, rabid dog, man. Like I said, I did do a movie review, if I'm not mistaken. I do have a movie review, somewhere in the channel. But yeah, man, great film, Cujo. Like I said, it brings a lot of nostalgic, memories. Like I said, early memories of horror for me. Um, Cujo, man, great film. Number one, my favorite Stephen King movie of all time, and it's been, man, honestly, it's been my favorite like since forever. Usually, like for example, well, of course, in other franchises I don't really change which one are my favorites, no matter how many times I rewatch them, because most of 9 times out of 10, the original movies are better than its sequels. So but yeah, this movie has always been my top number one, man, for Stephen King movies, and it's actually by two horror masters. We know Stephen King is the master of horror, but this film was brought to us by two of them. Can you guys imagine what it is? Shouldn't be no surprise by now. We kind of went over the honorable mentions. The Shining, one of the best, but not because of King. That was Pierce. Yeah, for sure. That's one thing I mentioned, man. Eric Brown. Of course, a lot of these movies, they're not obviously they're based on his novel, on his stories, but they're not necessarily his films. Because he did attempt doing his own screenplay, his own movie of The Shining. It's like considered the Shining remake, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. A lot of his but yeah, for sure, The Shining was all Kubrick, for sure. We already talked about how he definitely a director, one of those men who definitely take their work serious, man. Their craft serious, and when people do that, man, you get a good classic like The Shining. So for sure, I definitely agree with you there, man. Stand should be on the list. Actually, I have not seen that one. Um, but yeah, I also bought a few more Stephen King movies like at a used record store like not too long ago, but I actually haven't watched none of them. But number one, man, number one on my list, Creepshow, man. Like I said, this is by the Masters of Terror, George A. Romero and Stephen King. So yeah, Creepshow is like another one. Like I said, that I have early memories with horror. Because I remember being scared. I was scared as shit of this movie, especially the introduction. Or not the intro, the opening credits. With the boy. The dad is acting like a dick or whatever, and like, they take away his comics and stuff like that, and then you get like the creeper or the creep, like he shows up in the kid's window. Like I always thought that whole scene was definitely creepy as a kid. The even the soundtrack. I have here. Let me see. Quick second, guys. Quick second. Here we go. I'm also gonna do a top 5 soundtracks, man, of all time, because there's a lot of great shit. I have the freaking soundtrack on CD. Found this at a CD store, at a record store. I was like, oh hell yeah, I had to have it, man. But yeah, Creepshow, man. Like I said, the score is a standout for me. The whole story, each stories have always been, like I said, I've always been like creeped out from this movie as a kid, and it's always stuck to me. And once I grew up and I got to watch it like at its full entirety, it remained one of my favorite films of all time, man. But yeah, as a matter of fact, this is one of those films that for sure I was scared of as a kid, and I wasn't scared of too many films, but this one, man, for sure. Creepshow, like I said, has always stood out for me. You know, the whole beach scene. You know, with when they bury the guy, and then the cockroach. Memorable stuff, man. Memorable stuff. And I also really like the first story. You know, from the this story right here. You know, with they bury the dead father, and he comes to life with dumb stuff. But yeah, man, great film. Like I said, I might rewatch it, man. It's been a while, and you know what's cool about it, man? I believe on June 27th they're gonna be re-releasing. They're gonna be releasing a 4K of the original Creepshow. Definitely can't wait for that, man. Definitely gonna be picking that up. I think it's a definitely a major update on, you know, on a classic film like Creepshow, man. Because yeah, this is the standard DVD that came out who knows when, 1999, and of course it's one of those old school classic sets, man. You know, that have like the little clip base. It's not like a regular DVD case, but yeah, man, for sure. Oh, and also, man, we got Stephen King in one of the stories, man. How can we forget that scene? You know, he literally ends up shooting himself by the end of the freaking story. Yeah, man, pretty weird but cool stuff, you know. But for sure, man, Creepshow. Like I said, if you guys are looking forward to it, I believe it's the 27th. They're gonna be releasing the 4K release of Creepshow. Definitely will get it, man. Like I said, I think it's about time we have a new updated you know, version of Creepshow. I think definitely, especially with the 4Ks, even though I don't have a 4K player, but just for the Blu-ray, you know, definitely it's a improvement on a classic film, like I said. And I believe, I could be wrong, I think they might release Creepshow 3 again that same day. I'm not sure. I did see something like that, you know, but that's one thing I'm definitely gonna get, man. 4K Creepshow. But yeah, man, I mean, that's gonna be pretty much it. That was my top 5 Stephen King movies. For sure, man. Curtis Smith, what's up, man? How's it going? Hope you guys are doing pretty good, man, on this chill Monday afternoon. It isn't horror, but still will rock with you. Okay, for sure, for sure. I mean, I'll definitely check it out, man. It's Stand By Me. Okay, I mean, yeah, I hope so, man. I mean, heck, if this list does change, I definitely will do an update. But yeah, of course, there's still a lot of films I have not seen by Stephen King. But that one, Stand By You, I don't think I've seen it. Like I said, I have a few films in here that I still need to like The Mist. I've seen that a few times, but it's been a while. But yeah, definitely will check that out, man, for sure. That's great. That's great, Curtis Smith, for sure. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Even Creep. Yeah, even I believe they also did a line of comic books. Yeah, I know that's one thing Creepshow's really like big for. You know, like the whole comic book aspect. That's pretty much the movie. You know, each story is like just tales from the comic book. You know. My own that soundtrack film list. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. This is the Roy Burns mask. You know, not necessarily Jason. I personally thought, you know, not a lot of people don't really like part 5, Friday the 13th. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me. You know, it's kind of like a Jason impersonator, but it's a guilty pleasure. You know, it's another one of those that definitely uh, 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 remind me of the 80s. Christine. Yeah, I have seen Christine. It did not make my list, man. It really did not make my list. But yeah, it's definitely a classic film. Like I said, I didn't even mention it, like honorable mentions. But yeah, man, that was my top 5 list. Pet Cemetery, number 5. Number 4, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. 3, Carrie. Number 2, Cujo. Number 1, Creepshow, man. So yeah, like I said, I was thinking of doing a top 10, but I decided to just make it a little bit more challenging. You know, stick to a nice tight top 5. But it it man, like I said, it is usually the his most popular story, his most popular novel. Uh, of course, man, classic film. But it actually did not make my top 5. Like I said, if I want to watch Stephen King movie, I'll probably pick one of these, man, for sure. Like right off the go, they're just like my go-to films. But yeah, man, Stephen King's It is a classic movie. Like I said, I grew up with that film. Eric Brown, yeah, I actually have heard of that. I've heard, he was on it throughout, like literally, like most of his novels. But hey, man, that I think that explains the whole all of his classic stories. Because he must have been going through ups and downs. And yeah, but I have heard. I think he's kind of talked about it. I think he's kind of talked about it too. That a lot of his when he would write his novels, he would just literally sit there off it, and it's crazy for sure to think about it. To think how many a lot of these classic films came out from that mind state. But hey, man, that's our horror master, Stephen King. Definitely a lot of great films, man. A lot of great films. But yeah, I will be checking out a lot more of his films. Like I said, there's still a few more. Um, there's still a few more I gotta check out for sure. But yeah, man, for sure, he rocks. Definitely, and I know a lot of his films have also gotten remakes, and they're looking forward to doing remakes. But yeah, man, definitely, I feel none of them could definitely blow like his classic films. For example, Pet Cemetery, the remake. I've seen a lot of people really like I said, gravitate to it. They really did like it. But personally, me, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. The It remake, not bad at all. It's kind of grown on me throughout the years. But at first, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I'm still not the biggest fan of it. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just think I know that the It remake is definitely a way more upgraded than than It, but than the original It. But I just think the nostalgic, the 90, well, that was 1990. It just really gives you that. It does a job for me. Try watching. Sometimes they come back, and then how fast you will forget about it because it blows. Damn, for sure, man. Yeah, like I said, there's still a few more I gotta check out for sure. Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep is another. I feel Doctor Sleep was a pretty decent sequel, man, to especially a classic like The Shining, and especially like all these years later. Because I know he did do. He also has a novel on Doctor Sleep. Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Doctor Sleep when I first seen it. I just think it was one, like, I didn't really get it. But after rewatching it, man, I kind of, once I started to understand it and get it, like, it's not a bad film at all. I think it's a really good follow up. It's a really good follow up. Of course, it follows Danny when he's grown up. But yeah, man, Doctor Sleep, definitely gonna have to rewatch it, man. It's been a while. Yeah, man. And I was kind of late to Doctor Sleep. Like, I didn't really watch it as soon as it came out. I think it came out in 2018. I remember watching this sometime after, but I remember, man, I remember nothing but positive about Doctor Sleep, man. So yeah, that's one of the main things that got me interested to check it out, because when you really think about it, like a sequel to The Shining, like I was like, really? But then I had no idea that they actually had Stephen King did a novel a sequel, Doctor Sleep, to The Shining. So yeah, once I saw the movie, like I said, I didn't really get it at first, but then after a few rewatches, man, I thought it was okay. But yeah, it's a good follow up for sure. It's a good follow up to a classic like The Shining. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's gonna be pretty much it. Just wanted to give you guys my top 5 Stephen King films of all time. If you guys watch this later on, definitely, if you guys feel I'm missing any, and leave your recommendations down below, man, for sure, in the comments down below. Definitely recommend me more movies. Like I said, I have a few films here that definitely I gotta rewatch. I gotta, or not rewatch, but check out also. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be pretty much it. Shout out to you guys who tuned in. Right. Yeah, I think that, yeah, and especially like I said, I haven't really read like a lot of these novels, or none of them. Like I've only read it, but I thought as a film, man, it was still decent, you know. And yeah, like I said, I heard nothing but positive. Like it kind of did its thing, you know. Yeah, man, Cujo. But yeah, guys, hope you guys are having a good one. Shout out to you guys, Eric Brown, Curtis Smith, man. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with me. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your afternoon. Have a good night. It's the Michael Myers signing out.